Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at a really fascinating concept from Shahir J. Syed called the powerful place. And this isn't, a physical spot you find on a map. It's more about building this inner sanctuary.
Exactly. A space inside you that you can tap into anytime, anywhere. It just takes intention and, well, practice.
So think of this deep dive as our way of unpacking that. We're going to explore the 4 key principles Syed lays out.
Right, and see how understanding these, how applying them can really empower your personal growth, your emotional intelligence, even how you make decisions.
Because life, let's be honest, it can feel pretty chaotic sometimes.
Yeah.
Overwhelming even.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So what we're hoping to offer here are some insights, maybe some tools to help you navigate all that complexity, find a bit more self-understanding, maybe some inner strength.
And it all rests on these 4 pillars, these principles. Know yourself, know the surroundings, create balance, and respond to life. We'll dig into each one.
Okay, great. Let's start with the first one. Know yourself. Syed calls this the compass for a meaningful life.
Which feels right, doesn't it? He argues the most important journey isn't outward bound, it's inward, discovering who you really are.
And what does that actually involve? According to Syed, it's about peeling back layers.
Yeah, like the conditioning from how we were raised or what society expects, getting down to that authentic self underneath all the noise.
It's not about perfection, then.
Not at all. That's a key insight, I think. True self-knowledge isn't crafting some perfect image. It's embracing everything, the good, the bad, the messy bits, as the real foundation for living authentically.
Right. Accepting the light and shadow, as he puts it. All the complexities, the contradictions that make us human.
Instead of trying to force yourself into some kind of mold.
And this powerful place, this inner sanctuary.
Yeah.
That's where this happens.
It provides the space for it, yeah. That quiet place inside where you can actually connect with your inner wisdom, that gut feeling that gets drowned out by, the everyday rush.
Syed uses these little stories to illustrate things, like the one contrasting John and Jack.
Oh, right. John, looking back, feels regret. He chose the stable path, the should, and never chased his art.
He felt stuck, didn't he? Living a life that wasn't really his own. Maybe blinded by needing security over what actually made him feel alive.
It's a stark example of what happens when you don't know or honor your true self.
And then there's Jack. He had a similar choice, security versus art.
And he chose art. Less money, maybe more uncertainty, but he found freedom, joy. He put his well-being first, focused on his relationships.
So Jack's story shows the other side, the peace that comes from living in alignment with who you are, listening to that inner voice.
Exactly. Trusting yourself, prioritizing your well-being.
Makes you think, doesn't it? Have you ever caught yourself feeling like maybe you're living out someone else's script?
It's a powerful question. And that naturally leads into the second principle. Know the surroundings.
Okay, so shifting focus from inner to outer.
Right, understanding the context we live in, the social stuff, cultural, environmental, the specific situation, all those external factors that really do shape our lives.
So seeing the bigger picture we're all part of. Syed stresses really observing, developing empathy, and what he terms cultural competence.
Being aware of the norms, the values, the power dynamics, even the inequalities around us.
And it's not just about the immediate situation.
No, he pushes for a systems thinking approach, seeing how things are connected, thinking about the ripple effects, the long-term consequences of our actions within that bigger system.
He tells that story about Alara in Oak Haven to make this point.
Yeah, Lara comes from the city, right? Fast-paced. She lands in this quiet village.
And finds the locals reserved, quiet. And she initially reads that as unfriendly, maybe even suspicious.
Her urban lens made her misjudge them. She saw their quietness as, like, exclusion. Didn't get that their lives moved to a different rhythm tied to the land and sea. Different values.
But then she observes more, talks to Maeve, a local.
And starts to see their reserve wasn't rejection, it was respect. For tradition, for nature. Their quietness wasn't aloofness, it was connection.
So the insight there is really about needing that active observation, that empathy, moving past our own assumptions.
Absolutely. And the core lesson is if you act without really grasping the landscape, social, cultural, whatever, you're likely to misjudge, misunderstand.
And miss chances for real connection.
Exactly.
Can definitely relate to that. Misreading a room because you didn't get the underlying context, it's a good reminder to pay attention.
Which brings us neatly to the third principle, create balance.
Okay, so this connects the inner and outer worlds we've just talked about.
Precisely. It's the bridge. It's about integrating the self you've come to know with the surroundings you're now more aware of. It's like an ongoing dialogue between the two.
And what does that integration look like in practice? Syed mentions a few things.
Yeah, key elements: emotional regulation, knowing your emotions and managing them effectively. Effective decision-making choices based on your values, your goals, and that context we discussed.
Makes sense.
Also, mindfulness, really being present, tuning into your inner experience and what's happening externally right now, and self-reflection, taking time to really look at your values, your beliefs, your hopes, and how they play out in the world.
He gives the story of Elias as an example of what happens when this balance is off.
Right. Elias suppressed his sensitive side, his love for sketching, for nature, because he was chasing external validation, became this engine fueled by external validation, as Syed puts it.
And all the achievements didn't actually fill that gap inside.
No, he felt empty, disconnected, like he was performing. He dismissed that inner voice as weakness.
Until his partner just asked him, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, that simple question. It created an opening. He admitted feeling lost, out of sync with himself.
Then there's William's story, which is quite moving. His life was all reactions.
Constant reactions. Sharp words, quick temper. He treated every interaction like a fight. Got external success, maybe, but his relationships were frayed. Felt empty.
And his wife, Kate, tried to advise him.
Gently, yeah. Suggested silence sometimes instead of jumping into every argument. But he didn't really hear it then.
It was only after she passed away.
That profound silence, her absence, that's when it started to sink in. Self-awareness began to grow.
He started seeing himself differently.
In the quiet, yes. Not as the hero of his own story, but just a part of something larger, more complex. He saw the impact of his reactivity.
And there was that moment with an old adversary.
Right. Someone he used to clash with faced hardship. The old William might have felt smug, maybe.
But the new William.
He paused, reflected, and responded with a quiet offer of help, driven by empathy, integrity, not impulse.
So that insight is about consciously aligning inner values with outer actions, moving from reaction to response.
Exactly. William's journey really shows that difference. It's fundamental to creating that balance.
Which perfectly sets up the final principle: respond to life.
Yes. And this builds on everything we've discussed, particularly what Syed also calls the Sanctum of Self, which involves mindfulness, self-awareness, and really, at its core, self-love.
Okay, let's break that down. Mindfulness first.
Basically grounding yourself in the present, observing thoughts, feelings, without getting carried away by judgment, just paying attention.
And that leads to self-awareness.
It's the gateway, yeah. When you pay attention, you start recognizing patterns in your emotions, your behaviors.
So self-awareness is more like exploring the inner landscape.
That's a good way to put it. The terrain of your emotions, beliefs, values, seeing your strengths, your vulnerabilities, and accepting them warmly.
And you said the foundation for responding effectively is self-love.
According to Syed, yes, it's the bedrock. He even gives us a series of mantras to help cultivate it. The first one's pretty bold. I am in love with myself madly.
Huh. That is bold. Might feel a bit much for some people.
It might, but Syed connects it to Rumi's idea. You're not just a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a drop. Self-love isn't ego. It's central to being human. Shapes our relationships, our choices.
He shares stories about this too, right?
Several powerful ones. Ava, lost in others' expectations, feeling inadequate, finds an old journal, rediscovers her passions.
And starts a journey of self-love through mindfulness, setting boundaries.
Exactly. Or Liam, haunted by negative childhood stuff, finds healing and growth in a support group, learning self-love, turning past pain into wisdom.
And Ethan, facing challenges with disabilities.
Finds self-love by embracing imperfection, inspired by Brené Brown's work, and connecting with others who understand.
Syed also brings in bigger ideas here. Philosophy, psychology.
Yeah, he contrasts I think, therefore I am with I love, therefore I am, suggesting self-acceptance is the root of worth.
Yeah.
Mentions Aristotle's phronesis, that balance of reason and emotion.
And psychologically.
It's about accepting vulnerability, challenging those inner critics. He offers practical steps too: mindfulness, meditation, journaling.
Just exploring thoughts and feelings.
Right, and simply being kind to yourself. He gives examples of affirmations like, I acknowledge my unique strengths, and reflection questions like, what small kindness did I offer myself today?
All aimed at building that positive self-talk.
The second mantra follows naturally. I am enough.
Okay, this sounds like tackling that feeling of not measuring up.
Exactly. Embracing inherent worth. Like Alexander's story is successful by external standards, but always comparing, feeling inadequate. A conversation makes him look inward, realize his value isn't tied to achievements.
Or Clara, who spent her life trying to fit in.
Until she sees her granddaughter, Lily, just joyfully being herself, and Clara realizes it's never too late to be authentic.
And Samuel, the orphan, who felt unworthy because of a physical difference.
His caregiver, Sarah, patiently guides him with the mantra, "You are enough." He learns his worth is in his spirit, his choices, not appearances. That's a powerful insight. Your worth is intrinsic, not based on external validation.
The Sayed links this to gratitude as well.
Yeah, shifting focus from lack to abundance. Appreciating what you do have, realizing your life, even with its struggles, might be someone else's dream.
Okay, mantra 3.
I am imperfect and thus unique. This reframes flaws. They aren't burdens, they're part of what makes you you.
He brings in philosophy again.
Aristotle's eudaimonia, flourishing, not perfection, and wabi-sabi, the Japanese idea of finding beauty in imperfection.
And the psychology behind that.
It's about imperfect authenticity, accepting flaws, cultivating self-compassion. Like Sarah, the nurse, accepting her own fear of inadequacy actually deepened her connection with patients.
Or Daniel, the artist blocked by perfectionism.
He found freedom when he embraced imperfection in the process, rediscovered the joy of just creating.
It's also about accepting the good in us and confronting the shadow parts.
Yes, like Emma, the teacher using her self-doubt to help students build resilience, or Joan facing buried regrets in therapy to heal relationships.
This leads to what he calls radical self-love.
Cherishing everything without judgment. And he offers another practical tool here, a mantra for self-awareness. What I want to live with, what I can live with, and what I cannot live with.
Exploring desires, tolerances, and non-negotiables.
Exactly. Illustrated with stories about people finding connections, setting boundaries, prioritizing well-being, aligning careers with values.
Okay, mantra 4. I am worthy of love and happiness.
This tackles that external validation trap head-on. Worth isn't something you earn through achievement.
Like Ben, who needed compliments.
Yeah, until he realized that feeling was fleeting. Started finding worth inside. Or Delilah, choosing corporate life over writing, then finding worth in the creative act itself.
There's also Dawood, pressured about money, finding worth in art.
Right.
And Douglas, the successful but lonely entrepreneur.
Finding worth in values, connection, vulnerability. The insight is clear. Worthiness is intrinsic. You don't need to earn it.
And happiness.
It's an internal state, not just chasing external things. Stories like Damien finding joy in painting after losing his job, or Victor finding it in mindfulness.
Isabel pursuing passion. Annabelle appreciating small moments.
Right. It highlights the ripple effect. When you embody love and happiness, it impacts others too.
Mantra 5. I have enough.
This challenges the whole more is better consumer culture, the idea that worth equals stuff.
The illusion of abundance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Ahmed, rich, successful, but hollow, finds contentment seeing the simple joy in his village neighbor's life.
Or Saul, caught up in the social media image game.
Finds real fulfillment just creating, connecting with a kid, realizes the online validation was empty.
Syed talks about the weight of expectations, the comparison trap.
Yeah, stories of burnout from chasing promotions like William.
Yeah.
Or Jill choosing joy over appearances. Jonah losing his love for music under pressure.
The paradox of plenty. More stuff doesn't mean more fulfillment.
So the focus shifts. Embrace limitations, cultivate gratitude, prioritize real connections. Like Thomas, the wealth chaser who neglected family, got sick.
And found true contentment in simple moments after his health scare. Or Yin, living luxuriously but feeling trapped, empty, the insight being. Contentment isn't about endless getting, it's appreciating what's already there.
Inside and out.
Mantra 6, I compete with myself.
This is about shifting focus from comparing your journey to others, which is kind of futile, right? Everyone's path is unique.
He draws on different wisdom traditions here.
Taoism flowing with life, Bhagavad Gita focusing on your own duty, modern psychology intrinsic motivation, and emphasizes collaboration over competition.
Like Jamie, the actor.
Yeah, consumed by comparing his career, feeling bitter. Mentors helped him refocus on his own passion, found freedom and joy again.
Or Hugo and Jolly.
Both pressured by expectations, but their paths crossed. They collaborated, built something successful based on their unique inner growth.
Sai then talks about unlearning.
Stripping away that conditioning from religion, education, culture, family, media that hides our true selves.
And the importance of calmness.
Not as passivity, but as a conscious, dynamic force, especially since life's unpredictable. Like Keyes, the politician who valued control.
Learned calmness was the better compass after a crisis, choosing response over reaction. A key insight. Real strength isn't controlling externals, but cultivating inner calm and focusing on your growth, not others.
He mentions conscious breathing as a practical tool for this, creating space between stimulus and response. Even brings in self-defense philosophy aiming for peace, self-mastery, and offers 5 principles for simplifying meaning.
Okay, the final mantra, number 7. I am present.
The power of now, illustrated by Jonah and Megan's marriage, started full of possibility.
But life's pressures, career, family strained things, miscommunication, distance.
Yeah, a common story. But they reconnected by creating sanctuaries, rituals, choosing response over reaction, found a deeper love.
Shows that love needs intention, presence to be resilient.
And Side connects presence to navigating reality, the choice between acceptance and denial.
Acceptance brings peace, resilience.
Yes, he references Stoicism, Nietzsche's Our Fati, loving your fate, but acknowledges denial is also part of being human.
Like Marcus, denying his son's illness.
A protective instinct, but it delayed care. He eventually had to accept reality to find joy in the present moments.
And Max, the perfectionist surgeon, devastated by losing a patient.
Initially denied it, couldn't cope, found his sanctuary by embracing imperfection, focusing on being present. The insight, presence cultivated through mindfulness and self-awareness, lets us navigate challenges with clarity, respond intentionally.
So, wrapping it all up, how do we actively build this powerful place?
It's through these ongoing practices. Presence via mindfulness, turning inward via journaling for self-awareness, pausing to respond thoughtfully.
And the real secret
Is consistency,
Yeah.
integrating these into daily life. The powerful place isn't some destination. It's something you continuously create within. It's always reachable. He even provides a reading list for going deeper.
So, as we finish this deep dive, the core message really seems to be that this powerful place concept, these principles, they offer a practical path.
Towards a more authentic, meaningful, fulfilling life.
Yeah. We hope you, the listener, take a moment to think about which principle, or maybe which mantra, really struck a chord with you today.
Maybe just pick one thing that resonated.
And perhaps consider taking just one small, intentional step this week. See how you might weave that idea into your daily life.
Because ultimately, like Syed suggests, that journey inward, that's the most powerful one you can take. What might you discover in your powerful place?